Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. It's Alara. Today is Stitch With Me, finally. Hopefully. So I'll put the picture of what I'm working on up on the screen. This is Saint. Artwork is by Dakota Detweiler and charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. It is a retired piece. It is 525 by 656, 88 colors. I should have had my first color pulled already. I didn't. It's okay. So I don't know how long this video is going to be. You know already, but I don't. Because we're just gonna talk. Just gonna have a visit. I've been putting it off because I've been setting expectations for myself, and I need to quit doing that. Goals are fine, but I've been getting bogged down in shoulds recently. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And then it paralyzes me, and I don't do anything. So I don't even know when I'm going to post this. If I'm going to post this before an update, after, I don't know. I have no idea. Hopefully this is going to be an okay perspective. I do flip my work, so whoa, and I bonked all sorts of stuff. I might have to figure out. Oh, I'm not doing this in Sense Stitch. Hang on. I'll try to get this back into camera properly, but I really ought to practice the loop start method with a single thread, but I don't know. It's just easier for me to flip my work. So I know some of you are looking forward to hearing about my adventures in Florida. It was like a month ago already. And memories have faded already, but I will do my best. And then maybe after that, I don't know. This might end up being a really long Stitch With Me. I don't know, maybe I'll break it up into two. I've got this and one more project to work on before I actually do an update. You know, one for the fun stuff and one for the lifey stuff. So, gosh, where do I want to start? I don't know. How is everyone? I was so re-energized and relaxed when I got home from my trip. And now, and that actually translated into like getting a lot of stuff done and kind of working on, you're awfully far away. Let me zoom in a little bit. There we go. I'm going to try and work this in a more or less diagonal for now. Yeah. I still haven't figured out like the best ways to work in a diagonal. Like normally, like there's stitches up in here, and I'm like, okay, well I had a stitch down here. Do I go back up here or do I follow the chart? You know what? Screw it. It's my project. I'll make up the rules as I go. What was I saying? Yeah, I was super energized, and I was like working on my house and working on me. And then, gosh darn it. And then, as per usual, I got tripped up mentally. And that like derailed me. It never fails, and it's very frustrating, but hey ho. That'll be more for the Lifey update, I think. So I left for Florida on a Thursday? On a Friday morning. And I didn't sleep for crap the night before. Like 4 hours of sleep. And I live 12 and a half hours from where my destination was. And I had plans on Saturday, so I had to be there on Friday night. So I blasted the stereo for 12 and a half hours. And my throat was sore by the time I got there because I sang or talked the entire way there because I was so tired. I made it to about halfway there, which was Georgia, before I really started struggling. And so I started making phone calls about 6 hours in to just like talk to people. My husband unfortunately was working by then, so there were other phone calls made, phone calls to the gal that I was meeting, that I was driving to her house, but she was packing, so it was hard for her to talk and pack at the same time. But Suki came to the rescue. I chatted with her for, I don't know, a good couple of hours. It was good. It was good to talk to her for a while. We keep up with each other, but we don't just get to chat very often. And I really should put a needle minder on my project so it's not in my mouth. So, and I left at I got up at 4:30 or 5 that morning and started driving by 8. No, I was on the road by, just kidding, I was on the road by 6. 5:30 or 6 or 6:30, somewhere between 5:30 and 6:30. I don't remember exactly now, but it was very much my timing was done so that I could beat traffic in the various giant cities. I made it through Atlanta, Georgia. Anybody familiar with driving Atlanta? Anybody? Raise your hands. I made it through there in 20 minutes, I think. 20 minutes, half an hour. Almost zero traffic. I was like, what's the big deal? No, I know Atlanta traffic can be horrendous, but that was part of the reason why I left at dark 30. Because the major cities that I was hitting was Cincinnati, which is an hour and a half-ish from where I live, heading south. And rush hour for morning had just started. And then Knoxville is another largest city in Tennessee that I managed to miss lunch hour traffic, and I hit that well before lunch. And then I hit Atlanta about 1 o'clock p.m. for just after lunch rush hour. And then there really wasn't any more big cities between Atlanta and my destination of Gainesville. Nerd gummy clusters are crack, and I should definitely never buy another bag again. Because, oh my gosh, I ate so many of those in the car, my stomach hurt. Oh my god, but they're so good. And every time I see somebody crafting with nerd gummy clusters as their little snack, I'm like, oh, I want some now. I do currently have a bag. But I'm doing good. I'm not... Oh, does that go there? Yes, this, however... Hang on. It's not a stitched stitch. Oh, good. There we go. Okay. So I make it in, and I'm exhausted. I think I went to bed at like 8 or 8:30 after I got in. And yeah, let my husband know I got in okay. And yeah, oh, I don't want to put that there. And so yeah, so got up the next morning on Saturday, and I talked about this a little bit in the last update, and if you watch Jen, you know that we met up for lunch. And Debbie lives in the same town that my friend lives in, so she met us at my friend's house, and we all carpooled over to Ocala, which is about a 45-minute drive from where Gainesville is. And we met up with Jen and had lunch at an Indian place, which, oh my gosh, I always forget how much food Indian restaurants and Chinese restaurants and those kinds of food places always like so much food. So we should have split dishes, but that's okay. Because there was no way to really hold leftovers without fear of spoilage. Okay. And then after lunch, we went to, oops, sorry, I just smacked the phone. And Brick City cross stitch. And that was pretty fun. They did not have a setup that I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't what there was. It was kind of an interesting mix of new patterns and like, I don't want to say thrifted patterns, but like, you know, older patterns that, you know, you wouldn't necessarily expect to find at a store that, I don't know. It was fine. I did find quite a few things. I showed those in the last update. Yeah, I really don't know how that... Oops. So my camera is attached... Oh my gosh. Is attached to the light base. Yeah, I can't adjust that anymore. I'm making you guys all sick. Sorry. Okay. I don't even know what I was saying. Shopping, fabrics, whatnot. And then they closed at 4. And Jen had like a 2-hour drive home, so we just had the afternoon together. But it was fun. It was good. It was good to see her in person again. Definitely makes me wish I lived a little further south. Maybe not all the way in Florida. It gets a little warm there for me. Like, it gets too cold here for me, but it also gets too hot down there for me. At least in the middle of summer. So yeah, we got back to my friend Alex's place, and that was Saturday. And then a friend of ours came over, and we had And we just had a couple beers and sat around and chatted and stuff because she was also camping with us, but not until later that week. So we wanted to go ahead and hang out for a bit just in case. And I was still really tired, so I was ready to pass out at like 9 or 9:30. And then we had made sure that the car was all loaded up the night before. The ferry that we were taking over to the island left at like 11 o'clock. So we had to make sure to be there by, 11:45. I don't remember exactly. Times are hard. But we had to make sure that we were there like 45 minutes before the ferry left. And there were 2 ferries out, and we usually take the later one, the early one at like 8 o'clock in the morning. But we had a 2-hour drive from her place to the launch point in St. Mary's. So I was like, I really don't want to have a stupid early morning again and be exhausted already by the time we get there. So we did a later launch for the ferry. But that meant when we got there, the parking lot we usually park in was absolutely packed. There was no room in the inn. So we kind of panicked a little bit, going, we have to leave this car for over a week, because we were out for 8 days. And so we stopped at the office where the rangers and stuff were for the ferry. And we're like, where can we put this car so that it's not going to get towed? And they're like, just don't put it on the main road. It'll be fine. So, I mean, St. Mary's is pretty laid back. So that was good. So we went and parked the car. Well, we unloaded the car there because the ferry is right off the main drag. And there's usually open spots where you can kind of unload all your gear and then go find a parking spot. And as I was unloading, and actually even before we had left the night before when we were packing up the car, we had realized, or I had realized, that I didn't know where, because we took bikes to the island for travel, and I could not find the hitch attachment for the bike trailer to the bike that I was going to borrow. And I had loaned the trailer to a friend of ours. So a couple of years ago, we all went down and hauled bikes and trailers. But that was like we stayed at the campsite that was like 3.5 miles out, and we didn't really want to go that far away again. And I don't bike. I don't really live in an area where it's convenient for me to bike. So I had let him borrow the trailer, and I thought the hitch was with his bike. And it wasn't attached to the trailer when I got it out of my car. And I was already in Florida, and I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to attach this trailer to the bike? What am I going to do? And we realized, because I had borrowed Alex's bike to ride, 3 years before that? But it was a different bike than I was borrowing. Like this time we took electric bikes. We cheated. And I had ridden her, what do you call it? I don't even know. Analog bike. Non-electric. And just on a hunch, because I had messaged the friend that I had left the trailer with, and was like, is the hitch still on the bike? And he's like, no, I used my hitch. I was like, oh crap. And on a hunch, I went in and looked at the bike that I had borrowed, and it was still attached, thank goodness, to the other bike. Nobody had noticed for 3 years. So luckily, her husband is very handy and was able to rig up the hitch to the electric bike. So that I could actually haul the trailer. But we get to the ferry launching point, and we start unloading, and I go to hook up the trailer to the bike, my trailer to the bike, and I notice the tire is like super flat on my trailer, and I went, oh, this is not good. Because we're in sand. Is this flat tire gonna like bog down in the sand trying to ride around? And we asked around and found there was a shop next to the ferry offices that had a pump, and it was shot. The tube was just shot. I was a little irked that my bike was given back with a flat tire, but you know, what are you gonna do? It's flat. There's not like I could do anything about it right then. So I just decided to haul it flat. Hope for the best. And it did turn out that it was not a big deal. Like, I didn't get bogged down or anything like that. The rims seemed okay, so I can still get a new tube and a new tire if I need to. And replace it. I just have to try and remember to actually do that before I use it again. So we get on the ferry, we load up, and we're ready to go. It was cold. Oh, and the bugs. Oh my gosh, there's these little teeny weeny tiny gnats that love to be waterside at the docking station, and this year was no exception. They were it was kind of awful. Like, I had my hood up and everything. It was just, they were in my ears and my hairline, and I couldn't get to my bug spray at that point. And frankly, I didn't want to bug spray up right off the bat because they do bite. I think they might have been the no-see-um bugs, mosquito kind of things. But anyways, so ferry ride was uneventful, and made it off the ferry, and it was literally like a half-mile bike ride to get to our campsite. It was actually kind of nice. Now that campsite is much more people-y than the one that's 3.5 miles away, of course. But the site itself was very I would say it was kind of like more suited to a comfortable layout for our setups, basically. I've got a video. I took a video of like our setup and stuff. I will put in at the end of this video for anybody who's interested in seeing that. But we get there and we start unloading, and there's no bears, but there are bear boxes. And these boxes are provided, and I talked about this, I think, a little bit before, for the for the critters. There are raccoons who know how to work zippers and will make off with your backpack or whatever. They will unzip and get into your tent. And they will haul off your backpack and get into that way. I mean, these are very these are not shy critters. And then there's possum and armadillos as well. The raccoons and the possums, I feel are the most sort of aggressive critters to get into your stuff. The armadillos they just want bugs. They just root in the leaves and the dirt and stuff. But boy, I'm telling you what, the raccoons, they're no joke there. We had Big Boy that was part of our camp, or wanted to be part of our camp anyway. Okay. So, and I did get quite a few pictures and several videos of armadillos just walking through camp casually, and the possums were more dusk and early morning, but yeah, they do not care. And if your food is not secured, they will make off with it. Like I don't remember if I got a picture of it. I don't think I got a picture of it, but like our neighbor across the trail, he left a dirty plate out, and there was a possum up on the picnic table just licking it clean. We're like, you may want to sanitize your dishes before you use them again, sir. Like, possums are actually really sweet, but, you know, they're still wild critters that you don't necessarily want to eat after. So yeah, all that to say that you have a bear box that you need to secure your foodstuffs in. Well, we had no trouble. Oh, son of a biscuit eater. I just snapped my needle. You see that? Look. Find another one. And no problem closing it. But to open the bear box was a challenge, would be an understatement. Like I have arthritis and stuff in my fingers, so I have a pretty weak grip. So I was definitely, I definitely could not one hand those doors. But like even two-handing it, I was like, why can I not get this door open? So I had Alex come over and try, and she's like, why is this door not wanting to open? By the end of the week, we were struggling to get access to our food. And like we had said something to the rangers earlier in the week, and they sent somebody over while we were not in camp, and they left a note. You have to leave things back behind the line indicated in, like, apparently we had some stuff that was a little bit too close to the edge, but I could tell that was not the issue. And yeah, lo and behold, we scooted everything well back from the edge of the thing, and it did not want to open. And we're like, did this guy even try the door, or did he open it and go, oh, it's fine? Like, did you not struggle to open the ding dang door? Like, this is not normal here, folks. So it was several days, and we finally had a guy who his last night on the island, like his stint on the island was pretty much done. He's a maintenance guy, but he did not specialize in the bear boxes, and so he had like jerry-rigged the door so that, because the latch is like a paddle handle that you stick your hand up into, sort of this hidden paddle, and like pull the paddle, and it pulls both a top latch and a bottom latch down and up out of the the doors. And the bottom one was what we were having issues with. So he rigged it so that the latch didn't even engage down in the hole for the bottom. And he was like, I don't care, I'm leaving. he's like, we'll have somebody, actually able to fix this come out after me. He was like, but you guys need to be able to access your food. I mean, we had an alternative. Like, they have admin sites that we could have used the bear boxes on, but I mean, that would have been kind of a trek every time we wanted to have something to eat. But yeah, like he put a little plastic piece over the latch hole and taped it like crazy, and man. And then finally somebody came and actually fixed it before we left. And then I could open it one-handed, surprisingly. But apparently that particular site has had multiple complaints about the bear box. We're like, yeah, that's because you can't open it. And usually when you're ready to eat, you're kind of hangry by that point because you've been busy all day. And it's time to eat and you can't get your food. So that was the bear box drama. So, I should have stopped a while ago. That's okay. And we'll do one of these. Put this here. And I'll go ahead and park it. Here. So we get there Sunday and set up. And then Sunday night, it started to rain. It wasn't bad. Like, it was a steady rain. Nothing crazy. Definitely enough to soak everything. And like the way we really should have like battened down the hatches and closed everything, but it was kind of nice being able to have our, a little compound where we didn't have to feel like we were completely cut off and isolated from each other. So we left the tarps set up like one side of the. Maybe I'll just insert a picture or something. Well, I'll do that at the end. But anyways, like. The side of the tarps on the back sides of our hammocks, we had tied down, and then where is? Oh, found it. And then we sort of had the sides facing each other. Propped open, and kind of like a little lean-to. And we were okay the first night, and thought nothing of it. We're like, okay, well, that works. So we left it like that for the second night, and that was a mistake. Oh goodness, that was a mistake. We were having so many, because it poured on Monday night, and I mean absolutely just bucketed down. And I was okay, but Alex was getting wet. Like her setup was what did I just do? That's not how that usually gets tied off. Okay, that's fine. Luckily, her hammock stayed dry, but where things were splashing off of the ground, it was coming up and like getting the bottom of her quilts. So we did have a quilt protector, which is basically an outer layered, just for that purpose of splashback and stuff. She had actually put that on my quilt because I was having some trouble staying warm. But I come to find out that it was just because I didn't have I was using my husband's hammock, and I did not have my quilts adjusted properly for his hammock. So it was a little cold the first night, or the second night, I should say. And she was a little wet, but luckily that was it for the rain. We just had those first couple of days, and then it really cleared up and was pretty gorgeous the rest of the week. I cannot complain about the weather at all. Not one iota. I don't remember, what did we do? I think Monday we just kind of hung out. Like, I was uninterested in doing a whole lot that first day when it was raining and gross. And we did, and this is like kind of where everything sort of just fuzzes together as far as like there's been enough time between when I went and when I'm telling you about it. I don't remember some of the specific like daily details. But suffice it to say that we went shark's tooth hunting. Rode the bikes down. It was a mile and a half, I think, away from the campsite to where the beach is. It's really good for shark's tooth hunting. So and that's on the channel side of the island. So you've got the ocean side and then channel side, which is, inland facing. And they dredge the channel. There is a naval base really, really close to Cumberland Island. And they keep the channel dredged for the subs and stuff that go in and out of this channel. So when they dredge, they dredge the bottom and pull up all these, old shark's teeth, basically. And there's a spot in particular on the beach that just when the tide comes in, it just deposits all these shark's teeth, and it makes for really great hunting. I did manage to sunburn myself doing that one day. It was a little uncomfortable Wednesday night and Thursday night, just because it wasn't super bad, but enough that I definitely felt it. And then we did that, I think a total of, oh my God. And I was so sore from squatting and picking up the shark's teeth and like bending over, and, cause I don't have the greatest eyesight. So there was definitely some, I'm going to have to get my kiddo off the bus here in a couple minutes. There was definite soreness. Like, I could not go anywhere the next day. My back hurt so bad from bending over so much. So Alex ended up having some solo time. She went and biked around, and I slept a lot and laid in my hammock. But is this the route I want to take? Not really. Whatever. I'll come back and do those later. Let's see. So shark's tooth hunting, and then we did a couple of the like ranger led activities, sort of. Not, I wouldn't even say tours per se, but kind of, I guess, like kind of history of the island and things like that. Not as in depth as one of the car tours that we did a couple of years ago. That was really cool. But there's the ruins of one of the mansions from it burnt down in 65, I believe, 1965. So relatively modern ruins. The official story was that someone who was caught poaching on the property was shot at and escaped the island and recovered, and then came back for revenge and burnt the mansion down. But there is also a possibility that that is not what happened, and that a tour of some kids went awry. But we'll never know for sure. I've got several videos that I took. Some of them I will have to leave sound off. And I did do I was so mad though. I took what I thought was a really nice sunrise video, like a time lapse of the sunrise, and I failed to focus on the what you call that? The sky. This brain. I failed to focus on the actual sky. I was focused on the sand right in front of the phone, so it's a very blurry sunrise video. I was very disappointed in that. But, all right, I need to pause here and go get my kiddo off the bus, and then we will resume if I can. Okay, well, that was actually really nice. It was just warm enough that I was able to walk up to the bus stop to get him. So, and it's funny that reminded me, because I have a pair of new shoes, because while I was on the island and we did some beach walking, I realized that my shoe was feeling really uncomfortable. And when you have, at least when I walk on the beach in shoes, sand will get inside your shoes. It's just inevitable, right? But I realized my right shoe was filling up quite a bit quicker than my left shoe. And I realized there was a giant hole in the sidewall of my shoe. And I mean, I wasn't super upset about it or anything, because the shoes that I had before these lasted me like 5 years, maybe 6 or 7 years. It was a long time for cheapy department store shoes. So, where was I in the storytelling? I mean, it was really just a super relaxing trip. There wasn't like a whole lot of activities per se to like tell about. I was in bed by 9 or 9:30 every day. Like not just in my hammock ready to go to sleep. Like, I was falling asleep at 9:30. Ready to go to sleep. I was up by, it depended on the day. Like, recovery sleep was definitely a thing. But hang on, I gotta find a good time for the next color. And just so that, because I'm sure this would be a question to come up. But yes, we are allowed to take shells and shark's teeth and found things like that off of the beach. The rangers kind of encourage it. I don't know if that's true for all beaches everywhere, but this beach, that is the case. Excuse me. The and I actually, that reminds me, I don't know if I ever answered this, but I had a question from my last Stitch with Me about if we are allowed to hunt coyote, and the answer is yes. We don't generally partake of illegal poaching activities. I mean, yes, we are allowed to hunt. They are considered nuisance animals here. There is a particular hunting season that we follow. So yes, that was an actual question. So hopefully that dispels any concerns as far as from that last video. Yeah. So yeah, we were allowed to take shells. Of course, the caveat to that is nothing live. Don't take a shell that has an animal. You check your stuff and make sure you're not accidentally taking a live animal off of the beach. Saw a lot of jellyfish on the beach, like big ones. I don't know what kind they were. I think I have a couple of pictures that I'll stick in there from them. I always feel sort of compelled to like throw them back in the water, but they're jellyfish, so I don't touch jellyfish. My luck, I would be one of the people that are severely allergic, and yeah, not a chance I'm willing to take. And then our friend Dana came on Thursday. She did end up having to leave. When did she leave? Saturday? Friday or Saturday? I don't know. She ended up leaving earlier than she was planning on. Unfortunately, she had a family emergency crop up, so that happens. We were glad she got out and was able to enjoy it for a little bit. Try to get those out of the way a little bit. Where did I park that? It's funny, people are like, I don't know how you talk and stitch at the same time. It's not talking and stitching I have a problem with. It's stitching and thinking that I have a problem with. Oh, yeah. So that was the week on the beach. I mean, really, when it comes down to it, we slept and ate and hiked a little bit, biked a little bit. I did have the luxury of taking a couple of showers while we were there too. Like I said, it was 8 days on the island, and I don't go well with longer than a couple of days without showering. Even if, even when I do the wash down sponge bath kind of thing. we haul a portable water heater with us so that we can actually have a hot shower because, in February, that water, well, I mean, it's really, it's like 50 something degrees water all year round. So I'm sure it feels great in July or August, especially in Florida. Or, I mean, it's technically Georgia, but that close to the South. So I brought the fuel for it. She provided the actual apparatus. They do have showers there. It's just no hot water. Apparently there's some rumors of hot water being installed, but I don't know what the state of everything government wise. We'll see if and when that ever actually happens. They may not have the available infrastructure for it. So I'm doing this in 20 wide, 20 stitch wide. What's its diagonal? But that's still, I mean, it's still only there. So by Sunday we were ready to head out, and we went back to her place. And first day back, we kind of just took it easy. It was a day in. She baked some. Well, she was doing like some dehydrated oranges and just do some, it was just a day of rest after we had spent a week in a hammock and things like that. I had actually started having some trouble sleeping by the end of the week in the hammock. And just unusual pressure on joints that weren't used to it. And but she was going to go bake some bread and ran out of propane in her tank for her stove. And they weren't able to get propane until the end of the week. So that threw a little bit of a wrench in the works as far as plans goes. And then we went to, and my husband had messaged me, which I did have a little bit of signal in like certain specific spots near camp. So I would go like make sure and call my husband at night before I went to bed. And, touch base and see how the kiddo was doing. And he had told me that I needed to start watching the weather for the week that I was to return home, because there was some storm systems moving in that were going to impede traffic, like snowstorms. Not necessarily here at home, but on the way up. And I did not want to get stuck in a snow or ice storm on the way home. So I had to start watching the weather. And by the time we got off the island, I was really starting to get I didn't want to stop there. I was really starting to get nervous about what I was seeing. So we decided to modify our plans a little bit, because she wanted to take me like paddleboarding or kayaking, or just kind of some sightseeing, because I hadn't been to Florida since I was like 7, and that was with my grandparents going to. Oh, that is so not in focus. I am so sorry. That had to have been cross-eyed to look at. Okay. What was I saying? Paddleboarding. And we were going to try and do a couple of days of that. couple of different locations. So we decided to go to one of her favorite places called Blue Springs, I think. I don't 100% remember. I'm not real great with names of places. But we ended up going paddleboarding down this beautiful, like, crystal is a spring. There's a ton of springs around the area that she took me to, and this is just crystal clear water until you get to the main river, which I don't even remember the name of the river that we went on. But there's a certain tree that has a lot of tannins in it. So when the leaves drop, it basically turns the water the color of tea. So it was really cool to see the transition between the spring, river, creek, whatever. I don't know what the technical term for it is, and the main river. And luckily by then my sunburn had pretty much healed up. Oh, nuts. But I did make sure to wear clothing that was not going to turn me crispy fried again. And then I ended up, was it Wednesday night? Or was it Tuesday? Yeah, it was Tuesday night. So after we were... Is that how that worked? Pretty sure. Doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. So that night, when we got back, and I had been really looking at the weather, I decided that it would behoove me to leave early. So I ended up leaving 5 o'clock at night and drove overnight to get home, to beat the snow home, because I just decided that if the way traffic was and all that, it was either, and I didn't want a repeat of driving down when I only had 4 hours of sleep. That was a little rough. So yeah, I decided to just drive overnight, and frankly, I preferred night driving. There's no traffic, or very little traffic, and there's no rush hours, so it doesn't really matter what time you hit cities. I did end up driving through quite a bit of rain, but I did beat the cold home as far as when the snow was going to hit up here. So again, I blasted the radio all the way home. My throat was not quite as raw, thankfully. I did not have to sing quite as loud or as long as I did the first time around. My goodness, that one's really long. Excuse me, I need to get a drink. I don't think I took my phone with me, but I had it in a waterproof pouch when we were paddleboarding. So I didn't get any pictures really of that area. I don't trust myself and my phone in water, so I figured it would be better to err on the side of caution when it came to that. And now my husband didn't know. I really wanted to try and surprise him, like, ta-da, I'm home early, but I really wanted to make sure somebody knew where I was when I was driving in potential inclement weather and overnight. Because he's done the same to me, where he's come home from Florida and or even North Carolina when he's gone and visited a friend of his and decided to come home early and surprise me. But it was a really good reset, a very relaxing couple of weeks, almost couple of weeks. Hardly any social media. I mean, my phone really didn't get enough signal for anything other than phone calls. You know, obviously I'm not going to sit scrolling my phone while I'm, on the camping and things like that. It's just, so that was a very needed break, I think. You know, I haven't really dove much into mental health. Oops, I hit the stop record button while I was trying to adjust to. That's okay. Give me some time to really try and figure out what was going on with that focus. So what I was saying is I haven't really gone a lot into mental health in general and how I'm doing specifically, and really kind of quite a while. Like I talked about what I went through last fall with coming off of medications for my anxiety and depression and all that fun stuff. But I have not. How do I do this? You stop there. Okay. But I haven't really, not like when I first started this channel. And I don't necessarily feel that I have to, you know, but I think I do kind of want to or reestablish that a little bit. But under, you know, these differing circumstances, it is a little different now. Park you there. But I think I want to do that, like I had mentioned at the beginning of this video, that I wanted to talk a little bit about after I came home and what's been going on with me with that, because I still think that letting people know that, you know, if they're struggling is not, that they're not alone. And that's still true. It's just, I think it's morphed a little bit from what it started out as on my channel. And if you've not been with me since the beginning, this might not make a whole lot of sense, but you know, and maybe you're like, that's not really where I thought this channel was about. But I don't know, I feel like I've gotten away from my own personal roots on my channel, and I kind of want to get back to that a little bit. Not that I feel like I've been fake or hiding or whatever, because I haven't. But I mean, we all grow and evolve over time, right? And I think it's time that I sort of revisited a little bit more of what started this for me. You are a done stitch. You are a perk stitch. Okay. So I think See, we're almost done with this. No, we're not. Just kidding. I have 100 stitches more to go. That's okay. I've been yapping for a little while. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop this particular video here. And I don't know if I will continue on this project or if I think I'll finish up the 100 or so stitches that I need for this particular project and then record another stitch with me with the next one, just to give you guys something else to look at. Not that that one's going to be super exciting. There's a lot of 310 in that one, in the section that I'm working for that one, but that's okay. You are in the wrong spot, aren't you? What did I do? Okay. Well, let's see. You're in the wrong spot. I've parked some things in the wrong place. Okay, so let me fix this. Wow. My hands make the focus go funky, I think. So sorry, autofocus. So I'm curious if you guys have any favorite vacation spots that you've gone, that you do to reset, like mentally, emotionally, maybe not physically, but mentally and emotionally. Do you have favorite places to go? What's that like? What does that look like for you? You know, is it nature? Is it like a cruise where you're sort of catered to? Where you don't have to worry about anything other than being entertained and going to dinners? Is it kind of like I do with hiking and camping, communing with nature a bit? Okay, this is in the wrong spot. Is it a road trip? Like bouncing from destination to destination? And seeing places that you've not been before? What is your... Is it just like a spa day here and there? Like, I don't know, I'm curious what other people do to rehumanize themselves. There we go. Okay. That is also a very long string. Come on. Have a knot at the end of that thread. Could not get it off the needle. Okay. So, yeah, not a super, like, there's really not a lot of, I did all this and this and this, but hopefully, I don't know, found it at least good company while you were stitching. And yeah, like I said, I will throw some small videos in there. It actually kind of hurts my ears to have a video with zero sound whatsoever. So I will probably throw in just some music, like really quiet, so that it's not that sort of absence of sound. In case anybody else has that same issue as I do with sound in their videos. I may, and then, yeah, the ones that I can leave sound in, I will, but if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Thank you so much for joining me and listening to me ramble on about, you know, probably one of the most boring vacations you can listen to. And then I will see you in my next video. Like I said, I don't know when this is going to post as far as in order of which whatevers. But I know the Stitch With Me regarding like current mood is going to be posted after this sometime. So, yeah, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week wherever you are, and enjoy your stitchy time. Hopefully you get to relax on the regular, and I will see you soon. Take care, guys. Bye. Oh, and yeah, 166 stitches, and then I'm sure the update will have looked a little bit different depending on when you see this. So anyways, all right, guys, take care. Okay, so here is the entrance into our campsite, like behind me. And then here's home sweet home for the next week. That is a huge campsite. Huge. So we're going to store our bikes and stuff under here. We're going to string a tarp between that tree and that pole. And then there's a bear box because the raccoons and armadillos and well, not really the armadillos, but the squirrels and the raccoons are really bad, and they'll drag packs off if you leave any food out. And the bike that I rode in felt like cheating because it's an electric bike and was awesome. And then we're gonna set our hammock stands up here, and then we have one more girl coming in later this week, and she'll set up like right here. And then probably nothing over there, but there's the fire ring, which apparently is terrible because it's double walled, which is pointless because it actually keeps the heat inside the ring, so there's no heat coming out, so you can't really like sit around the fire and get warm. It'll be for ambiance, but that's okay. Not really planning on cooking over the grate or anything like that. Got a couple of picnic tables with all of our gear on it so far, and my little chair. So here we are. I'll take another video once everything's set up. There's our little elephant friends. These guys are fairly thick on the island. And they sound like big old elephants going through camp. Okay, we've got everything set up now. So that is where the bikes live, under the tent. And there's all our foodstuffs. This bear box is so huge. And fuel and all that fun stuff. So that's my food bag. And beef jerky, homemade beef jerky, rawr. And some other stuff. Oh, Rice Krispie treats. And then this is our little compound. It's a little bit tighter than what we would prefer to set up normally, So it's a little bit awkward. Normally we'd have, like, there's poles in here that keep the shape and kind of opens it up on the inside. But they kind of are at war with each other up here. So we're going to have to compromise a little bit. There is supposed to be some rain, so we'll see how the rain goes. And we might just have to batten down the hatches, because we can, like, pull the edges all the way down to the ground, or, you know, close to the ground. So this is my hammock, and that's my friend Alex's hammock. And this is I'll show you the other side. It's a little easier to see, but there's my veil nebula. And then you saw that earlier, I think. Did I do that? I don't remember. I don't know. I'm filming and I can't remember what I filmed, but this is a little gear holder and ground cloth, camp shoes, toiletries, all that fun stuff. And then, like, this is a light strip that we'll be able to plug into my power source and all that. So kind of had to rig my tarp up a little bit funky, because those are way too long. And oops, there's my tarp. I love my tarp. And then try not to trip on any lines. We've got a little fire pit here, ready to go. That's my friend Alex.
Hello.
There's my table with my ridiculous amount of cross stitch in it. Cheers. And then we be bougie, so we bought a stove. And yeah, that's gonna be camp for the week. So I'm excited. It's very peaceful here.
Babies, we're not gonna hurt you.
What's behind me?
Nothing. Nothing.
Nibbling on the spring greens. Our breakfast viewing this morning. And these are the Dungeness ruins. There were two manors, one on each end of the island. The Carnegies had the other one that is still standing. It's a lot harder to get to, though. And then this manor had an arson fire, and yeah, that's what's left of it. So it's pretty incredible. So we are on the beach.
Did you pick that one up?
Not yet. I'm gonna film it. Looking for shark's teeth. Big old driftwood. It is low tide at the moment. And way up here. And right there. The shark's tooth. Oops. I spy with my little eye. Where'd he go? I see him, not on the camera. I gotta figure out. There he is. Let me say, you don't see me. What's up, little dude? So we just took the bikes out yesterday, and there's birds trying to build a nest in one of the helmets. Oh my gosh.
I don't have a phone to be able to take a picture, so.
Unconcerned about just walking through camp.
Yeah, they don't care.
Nope. The horses on this island are all descendants of the riding horses and hauling horses and everything from the Carnegies when they first moved to the island. So they are very wild. I'm zoomed in, and I would not want to get any closer than this because they do spook and they do defend. But they have been very, very inbred for many years now, so the population's actually in a decline. We have seen many more deer than horses, and that's usually the other way around. So, but they do look healthy, I think. And I'm no horsewoman. Yeah. We saw a couple out on the beach the other day, but I forgot my phone at camp.
No, I talked to Jeff on him today.
It is windy today. Like, super windy. This is the south side of the island. Quite the hike to get out here.